Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. For this video we'll be going through an unboxing and review of yet another battle changer. This time we're looking at Bumblebee, and this is one of the many figures that have been released for the Rise of the Beasts toy line. So getting straight into the nitty gritty, here we have the front of the packaging for Bumblebee, sporting a nice CGI image of Bumblebee there in the upper left. We do get to see bits of the actual Bumblebee figure, as well as his robot mode and his vehicle mode. So fairly basic packaging. In terms of the back, another shot of his robot mode and vehicle mode, and surprisingly enough, 9 steps of conversion. So it's about halfway through a deluxe, but interesting that he has 9 steps. I think Optimus only had about 6, Rhinox maybe probably had that many as well, so I feel he has the most steps for transformation. So now that we've had a look at the packaging, time to crack him open and have a better look. And because he's already in vehicle mode, do the review in a bit of a reverse order. And with everything out of the packaging, you have Bumblebee in his vehicle mode, which we will look at later on. He does feel somewhat oversized and clunky, but as I said, we will come back to him. In terms of his manual, so it's interesting given that he started in his vehicle mode that the first set of instructions is pretty much how to flip out his weapon. Interesting. In terms of the transformation though, most of it will hopefully be on the camera. So yes, it is 9 steps, and it actually is surprisingly somewhat involved. Has a bit of tabbing, and yeah, there you go for 9 steps of transformation. So that was the manual. We will come back to that in a minute when we do actually go through the transformation live. As for Bumblebee, so front of his alt mode, his right side. From the rear, looks like that could tab a little bit better. His left side, from the top, and from the bottom. Each of his wheels will be able to freely move independently, so you can roll backwards and forwards quite nicely. And obviously being a vehicle, yes, he will remain fairly stable on his 4 tyres. In terms of colours, well, he's going to be his traditional gold and yellow, but given that he's got some of that off-road accessories on him, we do get a bit of black throughout his body now. One being his tyres, and then some of this other black through the extra off-road frame that now attaches to his vehicle. Otherwise, some of the other colour we have is some of this blue on his windscreens, and it did seem that we'll get a little bit of silver and a bit more blue when we hit his robot mode. So overall, not a bad looking alt mode. It does feel a bit oversized. Prime definitely actually didn't feel too bad, and neither did, who was the other changer? Rhinox. But yeah, something about Bumblebee just feel like he's been made to be somewhat oversized, and I don't know, I personally feel that. I can feel it, but maybe that's just me. But other than that, this vehicle mode still looks quite nice. It's definitely aligned to his new look for the upcoming movie. And it is nice that we do get a little bit of extra paint apps throughout the figure. I guess that's probably all I'm going to say about his vehicle mode at this point in time. Now, let's see how we can do this. Okay, so flipping him over, so his hands are tabbed nicely there. So release those and flip his arms out like that. flip him back over, and it looks like we can raise the bottom and then flip his... Forget to flip all his legs then. Well, there's definitely some legs flipping down, which I feel like we can probably flip a bit more. There we go. Probably flip. How about we just flip all the way? Let's flip all the way. There we go. So that's flipping him all the way. So his head now does pop up. And apparently there's a tab in here somewhere. Interesting. Do I need to also pull this out? Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is actually tucked in, as you do need to basically do a bit of a pull out, and he will have a bit of a tab in his front. So why won't you tab? I mean, I can definitely see where you would tab. Ooh, that sounded a bit crunchy. Okay, there we go. So yes, just hooked it into just the back of the silver piece here. So that's okay. Now, surprisingly enough, I think that actually is supposed to go in there. It does feel a touch on the noisy side, but yes. Are you supposed to have some extra tabbing there, or is that just my imagination? It's just my imagination. Oh well. Flip the legs around, which may pin things at the same time. Spread the legs apart, fold the legs out, flip the arms down, and you can basically flip his hand over to do his weapon. So there we go. That was about 9 steps of transformation, which was a little bit interesting. Can definitely put that away. So here we have Bumblebee from the front view. So yes, trying that again. Bumblebee from the front, Bumblebee from the side, Bumblebee from the back, and the other side. I guess I can just fold his hand back down, and just a close-up on some of the somewhat detailing on his head and main torso. Now, of the 3 changes I've looked at, something about Bumblebee just feels different. I don't know, maybe it's just me. In terms of colours, so Bumblebee's definitely very much his golden yellow through and through. A lot of that black that we saw from his vehicle mode is still coming through, but we do get a bit more silver now on his waist here, his weapon, and obviously his face as well. So nice to have some colour separation coming through, but it's definitely not a lot. In terms of articulation, the head will not move. The arms can do a full 360, because they do have a nice little socket there. Can definitely do some side to side. Well, can definitely go all the way up that way. Because of the 360, can still obviously go to the back, to the front. Hands will not have any movement, but as you saw earlier, with a bit of a swivel, you can pretty much switch that hand to Bumblebee's main weapon, which is nice. It's nice there's a little bit of movement up there in the arms, but definitely not too much. Definitely no elbow, to say the least. We do have some waist swivel as well, which is good. Now part of that was part of the transformation. And in terms of the legs, well, I have to move these forward. Not quite the full splits, but a decent attempt. So the leg can go all the way out to the front like so. Can definitely go all the way to the back, but you will have to do it to the side a bit. That's about it in terms of the hips. There are no knees on this particular version of Bumblebee, and I guess you do have a little bit of lefting and righting on the ankle there. Yes, it is part of the transformation, but you know, a little bit of leg movement here and there does go a little way. Speaking of legs, will he definitely stand on his own 2 feet? Yes, he will. So definitely a very basic version of Bumblebee, with the gimmick just mainly being the weapon over here, which is nice, but yeah, I guess in general summary, I'm not feeling it, but with that being said, let's do some final thoughts. So I know he's already in his robot mode. So robot mode, as a part of this battle change line, I mean, he looks okay, don't get me wrong. But he does have limited articulation, so don't think about doing too many dynamic poses. Whilst he does have a bit of detailing spread out throughout his exterior surfaces, the paint apps are fairly stock standard and generic. It's definitely not necessarily the best looking figure, and I think the only positive is just having that nice little weapon gimmick there, just, I dare say, as part of the battle changes line. So his robot mode is not great, it's not terribly weak, but I think he's potentially been shortchanged as part of the existing battle changes line. In terms of his vehicle, I thought his vehicle was definitely a lot more, I was going to say gooder, but gooder is definitely not a word. I think his vehicle mode ticked a few more boxes that his robot mode hasn't. I do still feel that it did feel somewhat oversized, so at some point in time, now that I've done the wave on changes, I will put Bumblebee, Rhinox and Optimus together. I suspect Bumblebee potentially will be the largest, which is awkward because he shouldn't be. But yeah, something about him feels like they've tried to upscale him, and by doing so, I personally feel I can feel the upscaling, and it's not upscaling in a good way. Overall, I know it's targeted towards a younger audience and not to the mature adult collectors, so frankly, unless you really wanted to the mature and the adult collectors, I would probably say you can probably give this a miss. Invest into something else like the Deluxe or the Studio series. I think there's more bang for buck there than there is with this. From the younger audience, it's not too bad. It's got a little bit of a transformation process to it. At 9 steps, it's not too bad looking. It is Bumblebee, and kids seem to have a strong affinity for Bumblebee, so as a younger audience person, it'll really come down to your preference of, do you like Bumblebee, yes or no, and it's something that you would be after. So it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag in the way of, depending on who it's targeting, will it be something interesting to grab, or will it be a bit of a miss? I don't mind having him in the collection. It's obviously first time looking at some of these Rise of the Beast figures, so it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching this bit of a unboxing and review of the Battle Changers Bumblebee. Probably hasn't been, I don't want to say it's been pessimistic, it hasn't been strongly optimistic, but it's definitely been a bit more interesting concerns to navigate through regarding this particular version of Bumblebee. Thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account. Link to that is in the description below. I'll also include at some point in time an extra short and hopefully some content on the community tab here on YouTube. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in some of the future Rise of the Beasts unboxing and reviews, otherwise something else on the channel. See ya.